Hello and welcome to my 12 Sundays of Christmas 2022 edition. My name is Sharon Rogers and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Wells, Maine. If you don't have a demonstrator, I would love to be yours. If you do have a demonstrator, I hope you'll find something here that you can share with others. Thank you for joining me, and let's get started with Sunday number 1. On the first Sunday of Christmas, my demo shared with me a little pocket envelope holder. This envelope will accommodate things that are a little bit thicker. You can also put a note in there. It uses very few supplies, less than half a sheet of designer series paper, and the measurements will be on my blog, but it takes a piece that is 7.5 inches by 6 inches. I used a piece of scrap shimmery white cardstock here just so it had a little bit of shimmer. I used a scrap piece of real red cardstock, and then I added some red rhinestones. Popped that up on dimensionals, and that was it. If you wanted to put a name to this or put a tag, you certainly could, or you could leave it plain just as this is for a secret Santa gift, just to surprise someone. Let's see how we make this. We're going to begin with a 7.5 inch by 6 inch piece of the Boughs of Holly Designer Series paper. This is a directional paper. The stripes, I want to go vertically on my project. So I want to make sure that it is, if it's a pattern, it is in landscape format, which this is. The other side is non-directional. So if I wanted this side out, then it wouldn't matter how I cut it. I'm going to bring in my Simply Scored tool, and I need on the long side, so with the long side up at the top, to score at 2.25 inches and 5.75 inches. Then I'm going to rotate it to the right 90 degrees, a quarter turn, and I'm going to score 1/2 inch from the left. And then I will be scoring 1/2 inch on this side, but only between the previous score marks. So right there. This measurement, if it's okay if it's 1/8 of an inch to one side or another, that doesn't really matter. It's just the bottom flap that's tucking it in. It will just alter the height a little bit. Just find a groove in there and make a score line. Now we need to do some cutting. I'm going to, this score line that I just cut did in here, I want to cut that rectangle out completely. And if it's hard, especially since you have a striped paper to see where the line is, you might need to crease it a little bit. I'm going to cut this completely out. For a little bit more of a decorative edge, you can miter this edge in here and try to mirror it on the other side. Now on the other end, there is this 1/2 inch score mark down here, and I want to do the opposite of what I did at the other end. I want to keep this piece and I want to take off these two. So just the opposite of what we did at the other place, including the mitering. The mitering is now on that inside piece. And there we go. Now we will burnish on the score lines. You can use any adhesive you want to adhere this together. When you are folding it in, one of these flaps is wider than the other. The wider one is the one that goes inside, because if you have this narrower one inside, then the seam is not centered. And that's not a huge deal, but I think it looks better if it's more centered. I'm going to take this, and you can apply the adhesive to either the wide one on the right side, the side that you want outside, or you can do it on the inside of the narrower piece. I'm using Stampin' Seal Plus, which is a very strong adhesive. Holds better than Stampin' Seal. It does take a little bit to learn how to use it. I think before I was having trouble, last year, I had trouble with it, and I think it was because I was pressing too hard. Stampin' Seal Plus and I have now made friends, but if you don't want to take the chance, you can do your green glue. And so here we have our little pouch. Now it's time to decorate it. I'm bringing in my Cottage Wreaths stamp set, and then the Country Wreaths dies, which coordinates. And you can make nice fall wreaths, you can make spring wreaths, although you need a flower for that probably to make it go a little bit better. You can make winter wreaths, lots of possibilities here. I need a piece of real red. I'm going to be using the bow die that is in here. And actually there are two bow dies, and this one is what you use if you stamp a bow first. I'm not going to stamp a bow, I'm just going to die cut, so this puts some dimension into that bow. And then we're going to be stamping in Soft Succulent ink. And actually you can do this in Evening Evergreen too. I think I will do Evening Evergreen instead. So there's my Evening Evergreen, which is an in color. Debuted last year, so we have about, I'd say 8 months left of it, perhaps. I'm going to take the more leafy of the two wreaths. The other one is just twigs. And I'm going to ink that up into my Evening Evergreen. Now this is a distinctive stamp set, which means you are going to get different strengths of ink there. You can see that some are lighter and some are darker. On my stamp, I've actually taken a Sharpie and indicated a spot on my wreath. That spot coincides to this little arrow. When you have that leaf lined up, that arrow is what I consider the top. You can consider it the bottom, doesn't really matter. But when you take the wreath die that goes with it, this little piece that's sticking out, that's going to be my top. So that will help me figure out where I line it up. Because if I didn't know that that was up, I could spend a lot of time rotating this around trying to find the fit. So that's a little hint for you right there. The top is up. It's not going to take me too long to find the fit. I'm going to go ahead and die cut this and the bow and be right back. All right, so here is my wreath and here is my bow. I'm going to simply attach this, find the direction of the wreath I like best. I don't know that it really matters. And I'm going to attach my bow. I think I will center that right here. We need some dimensionals right there. Let's go ahead and I should have mentioned that I stamped this not on thick white. I stamped this on shimmery white. So I don't know if you can see the shimmer there, but it is there, which makes it a little bit more festive. I'll take off the backs here. Yeah, let's see. let's do this, I think. Then we need to affix this with a glue dot. Find the glue dot. Remember, don't pick up the glue dot with your fingers. What you want to do is stick the item you want to adhere to the dot and pull away. The more you handle a glue dot, the less sticky it becomes. So if you can avoid touching it at all costs, you should do so. And so there is our cute little holder. While this is nice just the way it is, you could take some red rhinestone basic jewels and jazz it up a little bit. I like to add these in groups of 3. You could just add them singly if you wanted to. The reason why I like groups of 3, it just really makes it look a little bit more extravagant. Holly berries will often come in clusters. There we go. And because I really do prefer the clusters, let's go ahead and make a cluster of 3 right there. And so there we have some bling on our envelope. It holds lots of things, including a full-size chocolate bar with some room to spare, I might add. And there we go. That is the first Sunday of Christmas, 2022. All the directions and supplies are over my blog, so please head on over there, stamperhood.com.